There's a small change happening in your body right now, tonight, while you sleep, and most people never notice it until decades have gone by. It has nothing to do with your heart. It has nothing to do with your joints or your memory. It's something quieter than that. Something most doctors say is one of the most overlooked parts of healthy aging. It's happening inside two organs about the size of your fist, sitting just below your rib cage. And by the time most people are in their 60s, these organs are already working differently than they did at 30, even if nothing feels wrong. I'm talking about your kidneys. Here's what makes this so easy to miss. Your kidneys don't usually hurt. They don't send an obvious warning signal the way a stiff knee or a sore back does. They simply adjust quietly in the background. And that quiet adjustment is exactly why so many people don't think about kidney health until much later in life, when a routine blood test brings it up for the first time. Today, we're going to talk about one simple everyday food that many physicians and dietitians point to as one of the more kidney-friendly choices you can reach for, especially in the evening. We'll explain what it is, why timing may matter, and why this becomes more relevant the older we get. But before we get to that fruit, I want you to understand why your kidneys deserve more attention after 60, because that context is what makes the rest of this video actually useful to you. Let's talk about what's really going on beneath the surface. Your kidneys have one main job: filtering your blood. Every single day, they process a remarkable volume of fluid, removing waste products, balancing minerals like potassium and sodium, and helping regulate your blood pressure. They do this quietly, continuously, without you ever having to think about it. But as we age, the kidneys, like most organs, gradually become less efficient at this filtering process. This isn't a disease. It's a normal part of aging that researchers have studied for decades. Blood flow to the kidneys can decrease slightly. The filtering units inside the kidneys, called nephrons, can decline in number, and the kidneys may become a little less flexible in how they respond to things like dehydration, high sodium meals, or certain medications. Most people never notice this happening. There's no dramatic symptom. No single day where you wake up and feel different. Instead, the changes accumulate slowly, often over 10, 20, even 30 years. What makes this dangerous isn't the aging process itself. It's what tends to happen alongside it. Many adults over 60 are also managing blood pressure, blood sugar, or heart health, and some common medications for these conditions pass through the kidneys as well. Add in the natural decline in thirst sensation that comes with age, meaning many older adults simply don't feel as thirsty as they used to, even when their body needs fluids, and you have a combination that can quietly put extra strain on the kidneys over time. If kidney function declines significantly and goes unrecognized, it can eventually contribute to fatigue, changes in blood pressure, fluid retention, and other health complications down the road. This is why many clinical guidelines now recommend that adults over 60 have kidney function checked periodically, even if they feel completely fine. But I want to pause here because I don't want this to feel alarming. This video is not about fear, it's about awareness. The goal here isn't to worry you, it's to help you understand your own body a little better so you can have more informed conversations with your doctor. Kidney health is highly individual. Your medications, your existing health conditions, your hydration needs, and your personal risk factors all play a role, and only your physician or a renal dietitian can give you guidance tailored to your specific situation. So please don't change your diet dramatically, adjust your fluid intake, or stop any medication based on a YouTube video, including this one. Instead, think of today's information as a conversation starter, something you can bring up at your next checkup. Doctor, should I be thinking more about my kidney health at this stage of life? That single question can open the door to a much more personalized conversation. For those of you who are new here, I'm a medical educator, and this channel is dedicated to helping adults over 60 and their caregivers understand the everyday changes that come with aging in plain, simple language, without the medical jargon and without the scare tactics. My goal every week is the same: to help you feel more informed, not more anxious about your health. If that sounds like something you'd find useful, consider subscribing. Every week, we break down one practical, research-informed topic that matters for healthy aging, things you can actually use, explain the way I'd explain them to my own family. No pressure at all, just an open invitation if this kind of content is helpful to you. Now, let's talk about aging and the kidneys a little more closely, so the rest of this video makes complete sense. To understand why fruit choice and even timing can matter for kidney health helps to understand a few basics about how aging changes the body. Think of your kidneys like a very fine filter, similar to a coffee filter that's been used every single day for 60, 70, 80 years. Over that much time, even a well made filter naturally becomes a little less efficient. It still works, but it may not process things quite as quickly or as precisely as it once did. Aging also affects how your body handles minerals like potassium and phosphorus. In younger years, the kidneys can quickly adjust to changes in diet, correcting mineral imbalances within hours. With age, that adjustment period can take longer. This is one reason why nutrition, including something as simple as fruit, becomes more relevant later in life than it may have seemed in your 30s or 40s. There's another piece of the puzzle that surprises many people. Your kidneys actually behave differently at night than during the day. During deep sleep, blood pressure naturally dips, and the kidneys typically produce less urine, allowing your body to rest without needing constant bathroom trips. But with age, this nighttime pattern can shift. Many older adults experience more nighttime urination, sometimes called nocturia, which can be connected to changes in kidney function, bladder function, hydration habits, or even certain medications. This is exactly why what and when you eat and drink in the evening can matter more as we get older than it did when we were younger. And this brings us to today's main topic. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Not all fruit is created equal when it comes to kidney health. Fruit is often praised as universally healthy, and in most cases, it absolutely is. But different fruits contain very different levels of potassium, a mineral that healthy kidneys usually handle without any issue. For most people, potassium from fruit is simply beneficial. It supports healthy blood pressure and muscle function. However, for adults whose kidney function has declined, even mildly, even without a formal diagnosis, potassium can be handled more slowly. In these cases, very high potassium fruits eaten in large amounts may place extra demand on kidneys that are already working a little harder than they used to. This is where things become more important than most people realize. Fruits like bananas, oranges, and dried fruits are well known for being high in potassium. They're wonderful foods for many people, but for someone with reduced kidney function, a renal dietitian may recommend enjoying them in smaller portions or balancing them with lower potassium options throughout the day. So, what does a kidney conscious fruit choice look like instead? Many physicians and renal dietitians point to the apple as one of the more kidney friendly fruits available, and one that's particularly well suited to an evening snack. Here's why: apples are naturally lower in potassium and phosphorus compared to many other fruits, which means they typically place less demand on kidney filtration. They also contain a type of soluble fiber called pectin, which research has associated with supporting healthy digestion and stable blood sugar levels, both of which indirectly support overall metabolic and kidney health. Apples also contain antioxidant compounds, including one called quercetin, which has been studied for its potential role in supporting healthy blood vessels. Since the kidneys rely on a rich, steady blood supply to function properly, anything that supports healthy circulation may indirectly support the kidneys as well. Though I want to be careful here, this is an area of ongoing research, not a settled guarantee. And then there's hydration. Apples are roughly 85% water. For older adults who, as we mentioned earlier, often experience a reduced sense of thirst, a water rich food in the evening can be a gentle, low pressure way to support hydration without needing to drink a large glass of water right before bed, which for many seniors simply means more trips to the bathroom overnight. That combination, low potassium, fiber, antioxidants, and hydration, all in one simple, familiar food, is exactly why apples are so often mentioned in kidney conscious nutrition guidance. But that's only part of the story. Here's where this gets interesting, because it's not just about what you eat, it's also about when. We already talked about how the kidneys naturally slow their urine production overnight and how blood pressure typically dips during deep sleep. A very large, heavy, or salty snack right before bed can work against this natural rhythm, potentially disrupting sleep or increasing nighttime bathroom trips. A modest, water rich, lower potassium snack, like half an apple sliced, tends to be gentler on this nighttime rhythm. It's light enough not to overload digestion right before sleep, hydrating enough to support the body through the night, and low enough in potassium and sodium that it typically doesn't ask much extra of the kidneys during a time when they're naturally winding down. This is also a good moment to mention something many people don't think about: medications. A number of common medications for blood pressure, heart health, and diabetes are processed through the kidneys, and some can affect potassium levels in the body. This is precisely why we keep coming back to the same message. Your personal fruit and hydration choices should always be discussed with your doctor or pharmacist, especially if you take diuretics, blood pressure medication, or medications sometimes referred to as ACE inhibitors or ARBs. These medications can interact with potassium levels in ways that are very individual. This isn't meant to make a simple apple sound complicated. It's meant to highlight why one size fits all nutrition advice rarely applies once we're managing multiple medications and health conditions, which is common and completely normal after 60. The next point surprises many people because kidney changes are so quiet. It helps to know what subtle signs are worth mentioning to your doctor, not to self diagnose, but simply to stay informed. These may include feeling unusually tired or foggy, noticing mild swelling in the ankles or feet, changes in how often you urinate, especially more frequent nighttime trips, or changes in blood pressure that seem harder to control than before. None of these signs automatically mean something is wrong with your kidneys. Many of them overlap with completely unrelated, more common conditions. That's exactly why they're easy to dismiss and exactly why routine blood and urine testing, something many doctors recommend annually after 60, is so valuable. A simple blood test can measure something called your estimated glomerular filtration rate, often shortened to EGFR, which gives your doctor a general sense of how efficiently your kidneys are filtering. It's a painless, standard part of most routine blood work, and it's worth asking about if it hasn't come up recently. This is where everything becomes clearer because awareness, not fear, is what allows small changes to be caught early when they're most manageable. So, how might someone actually put this into practice? For most healthy older adults without diagnosed kidney disease, enjoying an apple in the evening, perhaps sliced with a small amount of cinnamon or paired with a modest portion of low fat cheese, is generally considered a gentle, sensible choice and one that many dietitians are comfortable recommending as part of an overall balanced diet. For adults who have been told they have reduced kidney function, chronic kidney disease, or who are on dialysis, potassium and fluid needs are often personalized quite specifically, and a renal dietitian may recommend different portion sizes, different fruits altogether, or specific timing based on your individual lab results. If this describes you or someone you're caring for, please treat today's video as a starting point for a conversation with your care team, not as personal medical advice. For caregivers watching this, one of the most valuable things you can do is simply help track patterns. Noticing if a loved one seems increasingly thirsty, increasingly tired, or is having more nighttime bathroom trips than usual, and mentioning these patterns at the next medical appointment. You don't need to diagnose anything. You just need to notice and report and let the physician take it from there. None of what we've discussed today is a secret or a new discovery. Kidney function naturally declining with age has been well documented in clinical research for decades, and dietary guidelines from major kidney health organizations have long recommended lower potassium fruit options, including apples, as generally supportive choices for people managing kidney concerns. Nutrition research on fiber, hydration, and antioxidant rich foods continues to evolve. And while individual studies vary in strength and scope, the overall pattern that simple, whole foods like apples fit well into a kidney conscious diet is broadly consistent across clinical guidance. I want to be honest with you. No single fruit, food, or habit can guarantee kidney health, prevent kidney disease, or reverse existing damage. Anyone who tells you otherwise isn't being fully accurate. What we can say responsibly is that small, formed choices, like choosing a lower potassium, water rich fruit in the evening, fit comfortably within the kind of dietary pattern that most kidney specialists already recommend. Let's bring this all together. Your kidneys change quietly with age, not because something is wrong, but because that's simply how the body evolves over decades of use. Most people never notice this process happening, which is exactly why staying informed matters more than it might seem. An apple before bed isn't a miracle food and it isn't a medical treatment, but as a lower potassium, water rich, fiber containing snack, it's a small, sensible choice that fits comfortably into a kidney conscious lifestyle for most healthy adults. And it's a lovely example of how a simple habit can align with what larger kidney health research generally supports. If there's one thing I'd like you to take away from today, it's this. Consider asking your doctor about a routine kidney function check at your next visit, especially if it's been a while. It's a simple blood test, it's rarely uncomfortable, and it can offer real peace of mind or an early opportunity to make small adjustments guided by your own care team. Aging doesn't mean losing control of your health. It means understanding your body a little more closely and making small, informed choices along the way. If you found this helpful, avoid. I'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a like. It helps this kind of educational content reach more people who need it. Drop a comment and let me know. Did you already know apples were considered kidney friendly, or is this new information for you? I read every comment and I love hearing your perspective. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more simple, honest health education made specifically for adults over 60 and the people who care for them. Finally, if you know someone over 60, a parent, a neighbor, a friend who might benefit from understanding this a little better, please consider sharing this video with them. Sometimes the most valuable thing we can give someone isn't advice. It's information shared with care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.